Hello everybody and welcome to The United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. Eriksen, Dybala, Coutinho, Bruno Fernandes. Where are we going to go in these last, 49 hours officially, I would say, with Manchester United. Remember, our transfer shows are sponsored by the Unibet vlog. The link is in the video description. And I've actually written an article about what I think Manchester United's starting 11 should be against Chelsea, including 2 further transfers. So do give that a read. The link is in the video description there. Look, I haven't done an Ashley Young and swallowed bird shit. I've actually got an ulcer on my lip, so I cover it up with something called Igloo, which means it doesn't hurt, but it makes it look like a swallowed bird shit. Anyway, let's get on. Manchester United. It's been an interesting day, hasn't it? Because Christian Eriksen has developed throughout the day. But Transfer Daily is where you want to be every morning, 7 a.m. throughout the transfer window. That's where the United Stand does its transfer news. And we spoke about Eriksen this morning, and I did say, to be fair, there wasn't as many sources talking about it when I spoke about it this morning as there are now. But I did say, look, I mean, Sky Sports, James Cooper, I think, is saying that with regards to Christian Eriksen, the situation is this, that Manchester United are interested in Christian Eriksen, but they haven't actually approached Spurs about it yet. Hello, McFly. Hello. Ed Woodward, right? Read Michael Carrick's autobiography. Read anything you like about Daniel Levy. He doesn't do deals in 48 hours. So, look, we could be interested in Christian Eriksen, but how, if we've not even approached Spurs, why are people even getting excited about it? I just cannot see it. Look, what I would say is, Bruno Fernandes or Christian Eriksen, who would you go for? I know people on Twitter who I really get on with. They're saying they'd go with Eriksen because he's only 27, he's Premier League proven, and he's fantastic. Some people are saying they go with Bruno Fernandes because, you know, he's not a rivals player, he's someone we can develop, and I think that he can be better than Christian Eriksen. So, look, at this stage, I don't even really want to get into the debate. If you're going to push me, Bruno Fernandes, but I would take either of them because our midfield is bad and those 2 signings would be significant either if we could bring either of them. Talk Sport are saying that we're one of 4 Premier League clubs trying to get Philippe Coutinho on loan. I don't really want Coutinho, if I'm honest with you. We'll talk about that in a moment. But with regards to the Christian Eriksen thing, the development is there and it is coming from people like James Ducker in The Telegraph, James Cooper from Sky Sports, Evening Standard. There's a few people talking about Eriksen saying that Manchester United are interested in him. And for me, I would welcome him at Manchester United if we were going to keep Paul Pogba, obviously, but that may not be the case. But I would welcome Christian Eriksen at Manchester United. But I cannot get excited about this. And I suppose that's the good thing. If it were to happen, it would be such an exciting signing because you can't do these sort of deals in 48 hours. Manchester United definitely can't. We've already seen with Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire, they both took 5 weeks each. We also know that Spurs and Daniel Levy are ridiculously hard to deal with. I think the only way that this can happen is if we believe the Portuguese reports that Bruno Fernandes is about to sign for Spurs. If we believe that, and then Spurs say, well, we've bought Ndombele for 60, we've bought Bruno Fernandes for 60, they might want Lo Celso as well, we've got to sell Eriksen, let's sell him to Manchester United and we'll just do a quick deal and we'll sell him for 60 because it suits us. That could happen, and that's the only scenario I think. But what I would say about that is, why are Spurs so eager to sell Eriksen and get Bruno Fernandes? You know, should we not just go for Bruno Fernandes? Having said that, Spurs Eriksen's only got 1 year left in his contract, so Spurs probably are scared of losing for nothing. So it's not impossible that we do the Eriksen deal. And I've got to say that, you know, this morning when I was talking about it, you've got AS from Spain talking about it, BS. But today you've got some fairly decent outlets in the UK talking about it. So I think there's probably something in it. And I'm not going to say it can't happen, but what I am going to say is I just don't believe it's going to happen. I don't think I've got anything left to engage in a deal and get excited about it. And I think this transfer window has sucked me dry. And I don't mean like that. That would be quite refreshing. Have a sleep, a cigarette, lie down. But no, seriously, I do not have the energy to invest in another deal. I think Dybala last week got me so excited and then sort of disappeared. Eriksen would be a good signing. I don't even want to get into Eriksen or Bruno Fernandes, to be honest with you, because yeah, I probably would prefer Bruno, but if we're not getting him, Eriksen would be a fantastic signing. Harrison Smith says Eriksen is Premier League proven. He's risky getting players from other leagues, although I fear Bruno Fernandes has the potential to be the world's best attacking midfielder. Eriksen, end of his peak, heading to decline. I mean, Eriksen's 27 and a half, so I think he's got a good 2.5 years left at the top of his game with regards to Eriksen. I'm seeing signs of Milinkovic-Savic as Herrera replacements as Ray and Nelson. Are you seeing that in your coffee cup, or are you down with the local person who gets that little crystal ball out? Because I'm not seeing anything about that. Zayn Maisai says you need to get the Gulf states to buy you out. I mean, I just must say as well, there's a lot of things going on at the moment. There was something just before I came live from Italy about Dybala being interested in coming to United again. I keep saying this. I don't think the Dybala deal is over. I don't. Juventus want Lukaku, and I think that's what... This isn't us trying to sign Dybala from Juventus. It's not like the Pogba deal a couple of years ago. This is Juventus wanting Lukaku and offering Dybala. Dybala not being so sure about it. Juventus still want Lukaku, so I can still see that Dybala thing happening. All right, it might not. I'm not going to go and say I'm 70% sure it's going to happen. I'm not even sure I'm 50-50, but I wouldn't surprise me if it still continued. Ollie speaks about 1 to 2 transfers. Who's the second one? Says Darshan Singhvi. Well, it is significant, that point from Darshan, because Ollie said 1 to 2 transfers before Maguire. I think after Maguire was announced, actually. I think he said it after Maguire was known to be a deal. So it is interesting that then we heard last night, because we did the video from Sky saying that there's not going to be any more signings. I think United know their midfield's weak. I think United are trying to do signings. And I think, as I say, if we're going to go for Eriksen, great. I mean, I must just bring Bruno Fernandes here, because I think many Manchester United fans, and I don't blame them, now just ignore anything to do with Bruno Fernandes. There was another blue tick journalist from Italy with 50,000 followers an hour ago saying Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes deal nearly done. And it's very funny how a lot of these stories about Bruno Fernandes, I would say 60% have been from Portugal, 30% from Italy and 10% from England over the summer. It's interesting how there is so much Italy interest. But remember, Bruno Fernandes did play in Italy, and the connections could well be there, especially to his dad. So, look, so many people have said it's going to be done. A lot of them have been said from Italy. I still hope, and I will go down with that ship. I'm Dido. But I at this stage, I don't think anybody can say anything with any conviction, and I think if anybody were to say it, they would be a bullshitter. I just don't think anybody really knows what's going on with Manchester United. I mean, Coutinho, Talk Sport, are saying that United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and one other from England, I think, are interested in Philippe Coutinho because Barcelona want to move him off on loan. I mean, the fact that he's played for Liverpool just doesn't help me. But if he goes to Arsenal, he improves Arsenal. If he goes to Liverpool, he improves Liverpool. Like, he is a decent player who's not done particularly well at Barcelona. And again, I'm going to be a hypocrite here and say I never wanted Coutinho at Manchester United because he played for Liverpool. But at this late stage, we need some quality in our team. I still don't know whether I'd go as far as Coutinho, though. The veteran trainer 88. If Dybala comes, would Ollie consider switching up his formation to make way for a false 9? Be interesting. I don't ever feel that Manchester United went into this summer with Dybala as a target. But I think that because he might be a Lukaku option as a replacement, then that's, why would anybody say no to that? Eriksen and Fernandes, says Manu Pasta. Well, I'd love to see United sign Eriksen and Fernandes, but that would be another £150 million. I mean, that's what United should have done. They should have gone and bought 2 midfielders. But to be fair, Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen are quite similar midfielders. Everybody thinks they're number 10s. They're attacking midfielders who can do their defensive side of things. They play well in a midfield 3. But I think if you brought both of them in, then Pogba would have to go. But then again, if you're going to sell Pogba for 150 million anyway, then you'd get Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, wouldn't you? But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with it. I think it's very interesting how the Eriksen rumour, and if you're joining a little bit late, the Eriksen rumour has developed from our Transfer Daily this morning, where it was a couple of sort of unreliable outlets saying United are looking at Eriksen. Throughout this morning and into the early afternoon, we've had The Telegraph, we've had Sky Sports saying that United are considering Eriksen, but they've not approached Spurs yet. And I think that's about sounding out. I mean, look, I could be totally negative and say you can't do a deal with Spurs in 48 hours, because I don't think you can do. But what if United have sounded out Eriksen and he's gone, you know what, I quite fancy that move to Manchester United. And what if United go to Spurs and say, look, he's going to go for free next summer. Here's 60 million. We'll take him off your hands. You're just about to sign Le Chelsea. You've got Ndembele. You've got loads of options in your midfield. Do you want to do the deal? Take it or leave it. And then they either do it or they don't. So it could happen. I think for me, I see a lot of people saying it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen, and I've said that myself. I think it could happen. I just don't believe it's going to happen because I am very tired with this transfer window. I'm very, very tired. It's knackered me out. Midfielders have to be the play. Success will be difficult with the current squad, says Andrew Rossi. I totally agree. We've got to invest in the midfield. Clear as day. And what I would say about Bruno Fernandes is as well, which I didn't add to what I've said before, is that he is still a Sporting Lisbon player. And everybody who's saying he's going to Spurs, all I keep saying back to them is, every outlet that says he's going to Spurs are the same outlets that have said we're in for him all summer. And we're still being mentioned with Bruno Fernandes. So until he goes somewhere else, or stays at Sporting Lisbon, or 5 o'clock on Thursday comes around, I'll still hold hope that that deal that we worked on is going to happen. Because what I was saying to somebody today about the midfield situation is, they were like, oh, you never shut up about Bruno Fernandes. And I said, Manchester United needed 2 midfielders going into this summer. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a list with 2 midfielders on it. You're telling me, with 2 days left of a transfer window that's been running for 3 months, we've suddenly decided to try and get a midfielder and it's Christian Eriksen. That's not what's happened. Christian Eriksen is a last-minute target that's become available. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, transfer windows are very fluid and they're very dynamic. But our midfield targets were not Christian Eriksen going into this summer. Our midfield targets were other players, and we've not got those deals done. And as I said before, what I think, the scenario at Manchester United, I think that one theory I've got about Bruno Fernandes is this. Manchester United spent all summer sort of tentatively negotiating with Bruno Fernandes. Like, yeah. And I think they thought in the last week of this transfer window, they would get him for 55 million. But what's maybe happened is Spurs have come in and said, we'll pay above that. United are like, oh, damn, we've spent all summer thinking we're going to get him on the cheap, and someone's come in and gone higher, and Bruno Fernandes wants to go there. Shit, what are we going to do? Oh, Spurs, do you want to sell us Eriksen? And that might be a theory. I mean, there's plenty of other theories. But whoever our midfield targets were, and you can believe who you want to believe, they've not come to fruition, have they? So we're clearly looking at Eriksen in the end. Gizzo says 2 days is plenty of time to get something done. I mean, technically it is, and technically it isn't, because any transfer deal takes a while. They're not done in an hour. They're not done in a day. You've got to move very, very fast, and you've got to have no hurdles. And as I said, Spurs and Daniel Levy had always won her massive hurdle, and it's not just for us. Darshan Singhvi, hunted for centre-back last year, flop. Same with midfield this year. News about Dybala, says Nat 1. Well, the Dybala news is that it might not be dead, but I've been saying that to you for the last couple of days. That's the situation with that. I don't know why people keep saying lips in there. Can we just block everybody who's saying lips? Because it's really irritating when I'm trying to read people's comments. I've already said at the start, it's not bird shit. I've got an ulcer on my lip, so I've put something on the top of it so that it doesn't hurt when I'm talking. It's not rocket science. It's not that deep. If you're that immature that you've got to start saying lips when people are talking about transfer news, you'll just get timed out and you won't have any comments, will you? Bob on the phone made good point last night. We expect Rashford and Martial to score 20 plus goals each, but I don't have the midfielders to assist and create, says Dazu W. I think that's a very valid point for Manchester United, because a lot of people like to pick on Martial and Rashford and Sanchez and Lukaku, and sometimes that is justified. But also, I've always said this about the Manchester United attack. It doesn't matter how many midfielders you've got. It doesn't matter how good your attackers are. If you don't give them the service, like Harry Kane, I think averages about 5 chances a game. I think Lukaku was averaging about 2.5. So if you've got 5 chances, you're going to score more goals than somebody who's got 2.5 chances. And the midfield is very important for that, because whatever you think about our midfield, whether you think McTominay, Fred and Pereira are good enough, are any of them players proven goal creators? No. Do they get loads of assists? No. Pogba can do it, but again, Pogba's irrelevant in many ways, because Pogba, I think, will stay, but we know the quality of Pogba. We know he's got assists, we know he's got goals, and that wasn't enough last year. You need somebody else to be able to do that, and it can't all be about Pogba. Third-party company need 20 million extra for Dybala, not happening. Mark, this is complicating things essentially. Juve are trying to use it, it's a splash net. Didn't we buy Berbatov on the last day of the transfer window, says Jared Harris. We did. We definitely did. And our defence is better, but our midfield is worse. Get Bruno Eriksen in January if we want him, says Indiana Peblo. And I want both Eriksen and Fernandes, says Sidrabit Azarat. I mean, where do you stand at the moment as United fans? Please do smash a like on the video, everybody, and make sure you subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner, we're getting really close to 525,000 subscribers, so it'd be really great to do that today or tonight on the 8 o'clock show. So make sure you subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner, smash a like, and thanks everyone for joining us, because it is 4 o'clock on a UK time, so I know everybody is, you know, it's not easy to get on the streams, but I mean, do you think we're going to make any more signings at United? Because for those joining us late, Eriksen's developed today. I think a lot of us still don't really believe it's going to happen, but some credible outlets like Sky and James Ducker at The Telegraph are saying that we are interested. Bruno Fernandes is Bruno Fernandes. You either believe that we might get him or you don't believe it. Make your own choice. But, you know, personally, I'm going to stay with it till he goes somewhere else. And Coutinho is going to leave Barcelona. He's the option for Manchester United. So I think the funny thing about this summer, and I've not said this before, is that if United don't sign a midfielder, we can only have ourselves to blame. And I saw something today, and I totally agree with it. If United don't sign a midfielder, there really can only be two options. One, the club don't want to spend that much money. There wasn't that much money to buy a midfielder in the first place, maybe. And two, we've just messed it up. We've just messed it up, and we're going to end up with a wad of money and no midfielder. I think the most likely option, if we don't sign anybody, is going to be that option one, that the club didn't want to spend any more money. But that doesn't make sense as well, because 2 years in the Europa League, they're going to lose the money they would have paid for a midfielder anyway. So I think we will sign somebody at Manchester United in the midfield in the next couple of days. But if we don't, we will only have ourselves to blame. Because if you look at what's been available this summer, Yuri Tillemans went to Leicester. Now, did we let that happen so we can get Maguire? Because the noise coming from Tillemans and his camp was that he was waiting. He was almost waiting for United, and we didn't do it. Bruno Fernandes is available. We know about that. There are, you know, Thomas Partey flirted with us. He's still at Atletico Madrid. He's got a release clause of £43 million. There are options in the midfield. It's not like there has been other summers with Manchester United where we should have signed a midfielder and then we didn't sign a midfielder, like Vidal. But that was maybe the only option there was. There's been plenty of options for Manchester United in the midfield this summer. And if we end it without one, then we've only got ourselves to blame. So do you think we'll get one? Fellaini left last January. Herrera left 3 months ago. And the board's sleeping for 3 months. They know we needed replacing. And finally the sloths are awake, says Udi Batnaga. And Blake the Third says, Mark, quick question. What would you rather? We sign midfielders and have a great midfield, but have no Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Maguire? Or how is it now? And Charlie says, who's got better attack, Everton or Manchester United? You could say that. You could say that Everton's transfer window on paper has been better than ours. I mean, you could say Arsenal. You know, if Arsenal have got Pepe, they've got that Real Madrid midfielder. They're linked with Upamecano, who's a centre back, and they get Coutinho. That's a better summer than ours. We've only got Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. I mean, Daniel James is good, but you know he's one for the future. So, you know, we could get outspent by Arsenal, who could have a better summer than us. That's how dangerous these next 48 hours are. But going back to that question, what would I rather have, midfield or defence? I'm not even going to answer it. You know why? Because we're Manchester United. We shouldn't have to choose. It shouldn't be Wan-Bissaka and Maguire or two midfielders. That's cheapskate FC. That's ridiculous. We've got loads of money. It should be Wan-Bissaka, Maguire and two midfielders. That's what we should get. If you're asking me, as I said last night though, if we could only make two signings, I would have made one of the defensive signings and one of the midfield signings because it gives balance. Fixing your defence and leaving your midfield exposed, that's not balance, is it? That makes you imbalanced. So that's what I would say to that. I'd love Eriksen. He's a quality player, says Harry Denton. The chance of Woodward being able to negotiate with Levy in the next 2 days is practically non-existent though. Look, if we end up with Eriksen on Friday night, on Thursday at 5 o'clock, I will be happy. All I've ever said is we need to add somebody into that midfield. If we add somebody into that midfield with quality, we're in a much better position than we are at the moment. So, and I do think, I've said it about Bruno Fernandes, so I'll say it about Eriksen. If you bring Bruno Fernandes in or you bring Eriksen in to that midfield and you keep Pogba, I think it's the difference between fighting for 5th and 6th or finishing 3rd. And let's not forget, lots and lots and lots and lots of so-called experts are predicting that United are going to finish 6th. So it's not just United fans who are being doom and gloom. It's people who are not United fans who are looking at it pragmatically and saying that team is going to finish 6th. So it's not just us. It isn't just us, is it? Thanks for that, Blake the Third. He says, great point. Will Chong be in the first team, says Jesse Tangerman. Not at all. Not at all. Drawty, I haven't seen any mods, actually. Probably should have told them. And Rahel Gomez says, I'm going to give him an applause there. I think it's a very, very good point. And it's why, when we did the video last night saying there's not going to be any more signings, James Cooper from Sky says it's unlikely to be any more signings. And I said, look, James Cooper actually used to work for MUTV before Sky many years ago. He's got a very good relationship with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If he's saying it's unlikely we're going to do any signings, maybe we should take notice of that. 24 hours later, he's writing an article saying United are interested in Eriksen. I'm not going to say James Cooper's a liar or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that the transfer window moves very fast, especially when people are nervous and desperate. United might be saying we're not going to make any more signings. It's unlikely, but it doesn't mean they're not trying to do some. Because at this stage, I don't think James Cooper's lying. Unlikely to do any signings yesterday. Today, they're interested in Eriksen. Eriksen's an unlikely signing, so he's not lying, is he? But we really are on the precipice of something here. We really, I don't know whether that was even a word, but our season depends on the next 48 hours. I know that sounds really melodramatic, but it does, doesn't it? Our season depends on the next 48 hours. If we get a midfielder in, I think we all feel we've got something to work with then. We can be optimistic. We can build on something. If we can get Pogba to stay, we get a midfielder in, we've got something to work with. If we don't get a midfielder and we go into the season with what we've got, great defence, some really talented players, but it ain't going to be enough over a 60-game season, is it? We're not going to get in the top four, I don't think. So it's massively, massively important that we do something. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody, if you're watching. I think I deserve a like on the video anyway, because I'm getting so much stick in the live comments about my lip, which I've explained twice to you. I bit my lip when on the plane because I don't like flying on Friday, and it's got infected, so it's got an ulcer. I'm sure you've all had them. And it's right on the top of my lip there. So when I talk or eat anything, it bloody kills. I don't use that Bonjela because it's rubbish. I use something called Igloo, which is you put it over there, you lick over the top, and it basically puts a seal over it. And it feels beautiful. But it looks silly. It looks like I'm an Ashley Young tribute band because it looks like I've got bird crap in my mouth. I haven't, but I've got this lump on my lip, and it's making me talk hard for me to talk, and it feels weird. So, you know, the things I go through when I could just be sat there saying nothing, playing FIFA. So please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Vaseline doesn't work on your lip. Vaseline's for some other orifice. And I don't think we're going to sign anybody, says Nikki Narasan. Go on then. Have your say. Are we going to sign anybody? Who we're going to sign? And you can just say no if you want. Mark, can you let me know of the Dublin dates, says Jan Banjovic. I don't know about the Dublin dates yet. It's going to be November. Just a reminder, I haven't put the link in the video description actually, but our United Stand get-together is in London on 7 o'clock on Thursday. I'm going to be ready for a drink. We're going to have microphones. We're going to do a sort of a live show there as well. We will stream some stuff for you as well, but you can still get down. I think we've got about 30 tickets left. If you want to get one, go to last night's video. I think that was the last time we put the video description in. Last night's video about no more signings, or I'll put it in the 8 o'clock show tonight. But we've still got some tickets. If you fancy coming down, you're very welcome. I think it's going to be a good night, and I think we've all deserved it. And it's our first ever meet-up as well. Dybala, says Mester's Infinity. Patrick, I highly doubt it because there was no indication of a joke, says Alec Dukas. Don't know what he's on about. I can't... No, a lot of people are saying no. Dybala possibly. Can Chelsea fans attend, says Countryside Jigger. It'd be a bit sad of you, but you were more than welcome. I don't think there's any substance in the David Neres deal at all, Ryan. I know we were linked to him. I know I spoke about him. Thanks for the contribution, Ayabir Ferrari. I don't think there's anything in the David Neres rumour at all. I don't. Again, I just don't think... I think it's a rumour, but there's 48 hours to go. Like, there needs to... I said this 2 days ago. I think anybody we're going to sign now needs to be somebody that we've been linked to. There needs to be some logic to it because United leak like a sieve. So for me, with 48 hours to go, it can only be Dybala, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, maybe Longstaff. Anybody out of that would stun me. I think that's, if we're going to get anybody, it's going to be Dybala, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Longstaff, and maybe Milinkovic-Savic. One of those five. I can't see it being anything out of those. I really can't. Do I think we'll sign one? What have I been saying to you since Wan-Bissaka? I said we'll sign 2 more players. Harry Maguire's 1. I've got to stick with what I said. I think we'll sign 1 more player. I understand those who don't, but I do think we will. Who do I think it will be? Well, I've always said Bruno Fernandes, so I'm going to stick with that. Eriksen's not impossible. It's going to be very hard. I'm not going to invest in it until he's holding up the shirt because I just can't believe it. And Dybala could happen. Of course it could. Of course it could. Any updates on Bruno Fernandes? There was somebody from Italy with a blue tick on Twitter and 50,000 followers saying the deal's done. I've never heard of them before. So I would just assume it's a load of nonsense. Will Baker says Eriksen's most likely, if anyone, but Marlon Fathers says Bruno makes the most sense. I think what we need with Bruno Fernandes is somebody from England, a journalist from England, to say it's on. They've just been very quiet about it, and I think that's why everyone's sort of given up on it. After Maguire arrived, Twansibi CDM over Matic as Michael Cooper. I'll play CDM over Matic, to be honest with you. Anyway, we're back at 8 o'clock. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. We're getting really close to 525,000 subscribers, which is a significant number for us. Fantastic community. If you want to get yourself down to the get together on Thursday night, go back 2 videos. The link's in the video description, or just watch tonight. I'll put it in there. And finally, thanks to Unibet Vlog for sponsoring us through this last couple of weeks of the transfer window. My article's just gone up in the last couple of hours. It's a really good read. It's my Manchester United 11 against Chelsea with 2 transfers added in. Click the link in the video description and go and give it a read. See if you agree with me. So it's my Manchester United starting 11 against Chelsea, but there's 2 transfers to be added on. Give it a read. Thanks for watching.